In this week's episode of the podcast, we are going to be talking about how to rekindle, how to mend, or how to sustain our relationships with our family members, with our relatives. And even though it may be difficult at times, it is absolutely necessary. Why? Because how we do some things is how we do everything. We will be going over the tidbits that Ianna and I have learned during this podcast to sustain and grow those relationships with our relatives, especially us being parents of immigrants, with our siblings, with our aunts and uncles, with our grandparents that are overseas. So
tune in.
Let's go. Hello and welcome to the 2D podcast. I am your host, Adonis Barrera, and I am joined as always by the beautiful and talented Ianna Giselle.
Hey, how's it going?
I'm doing well. It is good to be back.
Yes, it really is.
And I know,
I missed it.
Oh man, and by back I mean especially for you. Just gone. We're not just gone from we just haven't been gone from the podcast, but Ianna, you've been gone from the country.
Yes. After 5 years of not traveling, I finally went.
Wow.
Out of country, and not just out of country, but to my roots.
Wow.
To the Philippines.
To the Philippines.
Yes.
Wow. Like a 24-hour airplane ride.
Yeah.
On top of the layover.
Yes.
Man, that's wild.
Mm-hmm.
How do you feel? How was it?
It was the best vacation, but like best trip, because we were literally gone sun up to sundown and basically every single day, and not just being in the place, but being surrounded by like even more family and like even getting to know like people with like the last name Alhambra.
Wow.
Like more of us.
Yeah.
We had a whole family reunion. I got to meet my dad's oldest sister, so my other aunt, and her 6 kids. And I say kids, but they're like grown adults. And I have so much love for them. And like, I can tell they were all super supportive, super hospitable. Like, there was so much love that, like, of course, whenever you're going to meet someone new, it's, it can be awkward.
Yeah.
It can be like weird, but like, they were just so like welcoming. And so, like, I really felt home, like home with them.
Nice.
So
yeah, definitely. Because even if, I mean, of course it's blood, right? But it's still awkward. You've never met them before in your life.
Yeah.
Just because they carry the same blood. If you've never seen them before, talked to them before, it's a little, awkward or different.
Right.
But yeah, it's so nice because they know it's family, we're a lot more open to being open.
Yes, exactly. And I think it also, like, I really got to understand my culture and my heritage. Like, my dad showed me and my mom where he used to grow up. The whole street that they used to live on is now commercialized, but like him and his cousins just all kept telling us stories.
Yeah.
I was like, this is like so wild, because it's so different over there compared to like America. And it's just so like, I think my whole like time there was just like soaking every little bit that I could in. And like, yeah, it might be, for those of you that don't know, like Manila is the capital of the Philippines.
I gotcha.
And Manila so there's Manila, which is like the city. Yeah. But then Manila also has 16 different municipal districts, I guess, or divisions. And
I've heard of that.
Yeah. So then we stayed in Manila for like majority of the time, but we went down to like, everything there was probably like an hour to 2 hours to like 2.5 hours away, whether you're driving or like an hour long plane ride.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So like where we went, every single day, it was either like an hour to 2 hours driving from like Santa Rosa, which is like southern Manila,
Okay.
or Bulacan, as far north as Bulacan, which is like the north.
And so they're like an hour away to 2 hours to each district.
Not to each district. That's just like where we ended up going. So like our Airbnb was like in Santa Rosa, which is like the south part, and then like where my cousin lives, where my grandparents' gravesite for my dad's side is up north in the Bulacan area.
Okay.
And that one, we didn't go there every single day, but we did go there like a little bit more often.
Nice.
And then we went to the beach, which was an hour-long flight away, Boracay.
Yeah.
And the water was so beautiful. The sunsets were so beautiful. I can't wait to like send you the photos so that you can actually like see what I'm talking about.
Yeah, that sunset must be insane.
It was.
Because over here in the U.S., what we really get that's really nice is the sunrise.
Yeah.
But over there, the sunset must be...
Yes. It was phenomenal. Like the first night, so we stayed there for 2 nights.
Yeah.
The first night there was a huge dark cloud closer to us. And then all the like little clouds were like above. So you can see further out all the shades of pink in the clouds and everything like that. It was gorgeous. Yeah. But because of that freaking cloud, it just blocked like
the vision.
Majority of it. Yeah. But I was still able to see it. So I was like, oh my gosh, like I still love it. So like awesome. Nice. And then the next day, no huge cloud. So we went back, but not everyone got to go back.
Right.
So like some of us that did, oh my gosh, it was gorgeous and like breathtaking, like all the different shades. I made sure to make it a point wherever I was to like, yes, take the picture to capture the moment, but like look at it without the lens. Yeah. That is so crucial wherever you're traveling, wherever you're going, to like, yes, capture the moment, but make sure you look at it not through a lens to really soak in that moment.
Oh, 1,000%.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to just regret being at the place, but being so consumed with capturing it
that you didn't even really see it.
Yeah, you didn't really live it.
Yeah.
You're like, wait, I know I was there because of the photos and video.
Yeah. But why do I not remember this?
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
There's no memory
in it. Yeah, in it. And that's so important that we detach ourselves from our phones in order to do that.
Yeah.
Because if not, it's going to pass us by.
Yeah.
And that just goes in general in life, because we don't want to, be hooked up on Instagram or in our own messages.
Yeah.
That we miss things that are going on in real time.
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyways, I love that. I love how, you were able to go over there and not just experience the beauty of everything. I mean, the weather was perfect.
Yeah. It was like high 70s, low 80s. Because it is like anywhere between December through like end of February, early March. That's when it's like the coldest.
Right.
Where it's not hot, humid. Like we literally only had one day where we were walking outside in like the outdoor market and I was sweating.
Oh, for real?
And I was like, okay, what's happening right now? And that was probably like upper 80s. And I was like, oh dang, like this is serious right now. And like the sun was serious.
It was beaming.
Yeah. But any other time I was fine.
Nice. Yeah. Okay, so it was just for one day. But then other than that, it was like high 70s.
Yeah. It was gorgeous.
Wow. And meanwhile, over here in Virginia, in the U.S., man, it hit. I think there was a high one time of like 22, something like that, if not a little lower. It snowed over here. And while we were out, freezing, you were just having the time of your life, walking around in shorts and sandals on the beach at nighttime.
Yeah.
Good grief. That is freaking beautiful.
Yeah.
But I'm so glad that not only were you able to take that all in, but you were able to see what your life would have looked like if you were born there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's nuts because I really got to like learn and understand and experience what they go through.
Mm.
And then on my mom's side, they learning about like their history and their family history.
Mm-hmm.
Because in America, a lot of people grew up with like 2 siblings or 1 sibling or no siblings.
Yeah.
But max, like a family of like 5 is already a lot to
It's
a lot of people.
Yeah.
Because like the norm is like 4.
4.
Yeah. And over there, it's crazy hearing that like my grandparents had like 9 other siblings or a family of 12 children or something like that. It's nuts. So like when I say we had like a family reunion, it was like, oh, this is your uncle who's like younger than me or something like that.
Right.
Or like, yeah, it was just nuts. So me, if we did live in the Philippines, it's crazy how one city with the 16 different municipalities, so many differences within one municipality. So like one was like financial district that had like 5 different malls, 5 different buildings, same mall, so many different floors. I could have easily got lost if
Wow.
and I'm usually pretty good at my directions.
Very good. Yeah.
And it was so clean and all the stores were there and like you could tell everyone was dressed in business. You could tell there were like colleges around. You could tell that like they were well educated and it was just like okay, that's one part.
Yeah.
But as soon as you go across to like a different municipality or district or something, it's completely different.
Changes drastically.
Drastically.
Wow.
Like they even had it's called like the squatters. So even if it's just like renting a bed in a room, like they actually had like a whole few buildings, like a whole neighborhood of just squatters, but they actually built them a building now. So people can like rent if they need to, or like, and it would only be like 500 pesos, which is literally $10. It like converting it to US, 500 pesos is $10.
Wow.
So like you can rent that, but even that was like too much. So you can tell the difference of who's living how and what are they like.
Right.
Yeah. And so like, yeah, there's like concrete buildings, but then there's also like cardboard, but also like aluminum.
Yeah.
What is that called? Like tin or something like that.
I know what
It's
you're
like a
talking
type of
about.
metal that like is like a sheet and like it really like that's how people are building their houses.
Yeah, just scraps of metals.
Yes, exactly.
Wow.
So just going from one extreme to the next and anything in between is like so wild. But it was such an experience. Like there's no other experience like that like I can not relate to, but like I can understand. Like I understand now. Like I knew it, and it's one thing to like read about it, hear about it from stories and do all these things. It's a whole nother level when you experience it.
Yeah.
When you're engulfed in the culture, in the people, the food, like you're fully immersed in
That's so true.
the full culture of what you're experiencing and everything.
And how they live in.
Yeah.
Because just experiencing it too, like not even living it. Because you're there, and but you're just experiencing it. Why do I say that? Because visiting there, you're visiting and you're going back to your reality at some point.
Yes.
But those guys, this is it. This is how we live. Like, it's cool that you're getting like entertained and all, but this is how we live.
Right.
Right. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but I'm just saying like Ianna was saying, it's one thing to hear about it, to know about it, like, especially us as like immigrant children. They always told us the stories of how they got here, what they needed to do,
Mm-hmm.
and so on and so forth. They had to, risk the life with their whole families in their mother country
Mm-hmm.
to start a brand new life here in the U.S. without knowing anybody. I mean,
Right.
you might have like a couple of connections in terms of friends that went before you,
Yeah.
but it's not family.
Yeah. Exactly.
Things can always pop up to not make them like you anymore,
Mm-hmm.
So it is truly amazing going to your roots
Mm-hmm.
and experiencing like, yo, if my parents didn't do what they needed to come over here,
Yeah.
this is how I would be living.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And I think another point that just came back to my mind was my uncle that lives there. He is in the dental industry, and so is his wife.
Nice.
And they just recently moved into like a gated community over there with his siblings, like all in the same block or like community, and like they're all on literally, it's probably like a square.
Yeah.
And they all live like a few houses down and stuff. And they're all like well off. Like they have like a garage, a separate kitchen for like all the cooking and stuff, and then an entertaining kitchen with like the sink.
Wow.
And then it's probably like 3 bedrooms and then like a living room and a couple bathrooms, and it's like,
wow, they live nice.
Yeah. But when they bought it, it was really only like the kitchen, a little living room, and then like 2 bedrooms. So they really added on to the house to like really keep it going.
Nice.
And they're in the process of like making their, I forgot what it's called, but it's like, you know how there's a garage, but then there's the place for a carport.
Oh, okay.
So they have a carport, but they're in the process of making a garage so that on top they can make another room for more people to stay. And so I was just like, wow, they're doing it.
They're
like,
really
let's
going.
go.
Yeah.
And my mom was like, yeah, like he gave in the Philippines what is that called? He gave his aunts and uncles the opportunity to help sponsor his college education. And they were like, no, we're not going to help you, except one. And he wasn't even related to him. He is like the married into the family.
Oh, wow.
And he was like, yeah, like I'll pay for your college. Like, let's go.
Wow.
So because he sponsored him, they're so close. And so he's able to like go travel with them and everything like that. Yeah. And I bring this point up because the way of life in the Philippines is like family is literally everything. So if you can help. If you can't, it's okay. But how else are you going to be able to contribute, you know?
Right.
And when I was getting my nails done, the first full day that we were there, one of the kids asked one of the workers, like, hey, is it okay if I talk to them? Because we were literally like, I told you, my family was deep. Like, we probably had like 13 people with us like every single day. And there was probably about 8 of us in the nail salon. And she was like, yeah, go ahead. And so he made this whole speech. He's probably only like, he looked like 13 or 14. And he was like, so kind. And of course, in Tagalog, which is the language of the Philippines, he goes, hi, I don't mean to bother you. I only want to take up a little bit of your time. But is it okay? I'm selling pens for only 5 pesos.
Wow.
Yeah, he was like, I'm selling some pens for only 5 pesos because I'm trying to pay for my college and my college education. So any bit will help. I'll give you 3 for 5, like da da da. It was a lot. I know. And so I was like, oh my gosh, I don't have any small bills right now.
Yeah.
Like I still like just got here.
Yeah, you're just living large right now.
Yeah. And so the first person that reached into her bag to give him money was my aunt. And I was like, oh my gosh, like that is so sweet. Like she's really like helpful.
Yeah.
She gave him 100 and he gave her 3 pens. And he was like, do you want more pens? Like ready to give more pens.
Yeah.
She was like, no, just 3. I just want
nice.
3. And so then
how nice were those pens?
it was literally like gel pens and like with the cap. And like,
okay.
He gave like a red, a blue, and a black. And then she was like, some of my other cousins like was able to like get out some money. And then my cousin paid for my mom and me and her to give to get some pens too. And then they were like, can I have 2 blue and 1 pink or whatever?
Nice.
And I was like, this is so cute. And I was like, just that story alone, that experience on my first day, I was like, oh, this is different. Like, yes, we've seen people do it, like some sort of like fundraising and other stuff like here. But like when you see it firsthand, not from a movie, and actually hear this kid speak, like he's trying to better himself. Why wouldn't you help? You know?
Exactly.
If you can afford it, like, of course, everyone is like always like not scrapping for cash, but like trying to make a living for themselves.
Yeah.
Like, help. Like,
right.
you know?
And he wasn't even,
it was just so nice.
And he wasn't even like asking for money for a family that he already had.
Yeah.
Or he wasn't asking for money because, you know, he was living on the streets.
Yeah.
He was literally asking for money to pay for a college education.
Yeah.
That's wild.
Yeah.
And it's because they don't have that many opportunities. You know, like if he could, I'm sure if he was living here, he probably would have started an Etsy shop.
Yeah.
You know, he would have been selling them on Facebook Marketplace, eBay, whatever.
Yeah.
You know, he would have been promoting it on Instagram or whatever. And he probably could if over there.
Yeah.
But it's just not the same resources. Like, where are you going to get the resources to ship, to, you know, to drive around and sell?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
It's tough. Like, 5 pesos. 5 pesos is like what? 10 cents.
I don't even know. It's not. Because 55 pesos
is a
$1.
Yeah.
So I can't do math right now because I'm still like jet lagged and everything.
Yeah.
But yeah, basically.
Yeah, it's like 10 cents at most.
That's nuts.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
But he's doing it, and
like, and it's literally like the resources that he has. Like, he's a kid in school.
Yeah.
He has pens. Let me sell these pens to look out for my future of getting a better education.
Wow, that's
You know?
wow,
Yeah.
that's crazy. Man, he's gonna have to sell a lot of pens.
Yeah.
That's wild.
That's why he's starting so young.
Yeah.
But
how old was he? Do you think?
I think 13.
13.
Yeah, about 13. Because he was young. He had like a collared shirt. He did look like he came not straight from school, but like, well, yeah, he probably did come from school. And school there also,
Yeah.
it starts at 7, ends around 11 for like a lunch break. 11 to 1, they actually go home. And then they come back and finish from 1 to 3. And I was like, what?
Wow.
I love it. Yeah. So they're done with their school day at 2 or 3, but their lunch break is 2 hours and they get to go home.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah. I was like, what?
They wouldn't work over here because then they wouldn't come back.
Yeah, I know, right?
Okay, well, now that you met your cousins, this came to my head, and I'm very curious because I have family in Honduras too. Right? I have cousins, uncles and aunts, and my grandma, right?
Yeah.
And it's cool and all, and of course I love them, but I am pretty sure they're not feeling that love from me because I'm not texting them, you know, back and forth.
Yeah.
Right. And I really want to ask you, like, how are you going to go about your relationship with your cousins? Because they're in the Philippines, because they're literally 11 hours ahead. So it's already, you know, complicated. And the reason I'm asking is because I'm having a hard time, you know, like even reaching out to them like something like of a high priority. And it's not that I don't care about them, Like, I know for a fact, if I was to go back to Honduras, I'd be like, yo,
Yeah.
hey guys, what's going on?
Yeah.
But when you don't see them every day,
Mm-hmm.
We have to do so much. We have to work. We have to, take care of our own personal things and our goals and ambitions and our friends that are here and our family that's here.
Yeah.
There's just so much that's going on all at once, whatever issues and bills and whatever else we get consumed by.
Yeah.
How are you, genuinely, how are you going to go about like your relationship with your cousins and aunts?
So there's like so many answers that like popped into my head.
Mm-hmm.
So the first, and it's going to be all over the place because there's not many of them.
Yeah.
Like the first person that popped in my mind was the one that literally stayed with me every single day and every single night.
Yeah,
like
that's
she
right.
slept next to me.
Yeah.
And her daughter is my goddaughter. And with her, when we left the airport, we were both bawling. Like,
Jeez. Yeah.
we were like not ready to like let each other go.
Right.
But I also had so much hope that like, okay, I know this is sad. I know I'm going to come back.
Yeah.
And I know now on Facebook and on Instagram, like I can reach out to you and I can still
Right.
I can still call, I can still message, I can like share photos. And like one thing that my dad did tell me was like he loves traveling and he always posts wherever he goes because he knows there's some people on his Facebook that does not travel like he does.
Right.
They experience it through him.
I don't think anyone travels as much as he does. But
Yeah. So like
Yeah.
they experience it from him. So that's his
Nice.
incentive to post and make sure that like he's still letting people see where he gets to go. Cause that's
true.
where they travel through him.
Right.
And so
I like that. Yeah. I love that. Yeah.
and so with me and my cousins, at least that one, and like a couple of the other ones,
yeah.
like I know when I text them, hi, how are you? It's not a shallow, hi, how are you anymore.
Right.
And like, hi, how are you? I'm good. How are you? Good.
Yeah, exactly.
Miss you too. Okay. Have a good day. Bye.
Yeah.
Literally like that would usually be it. If that.
Yeah.
Now it's like, hey, how's your kids? Like, what's going on? Like, how's work?
Yeah.
How's blah, 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 blah. Like, it's more conversation of substance. And if I know that they're going to travel somewhere, if I know they're going to do this, that, and the third, I can ask them, how was it? How's that going? What's going on?
Yeah, 1,000%. Yeah.
And then I got all their birthdays, so I can be like, happy birthday. And like, I can probably send them something or whatever,
Yeah.
And then throughout the trip, because I already knew I was going to send a box over to them of like, it's called a balakbayan box, which is like anything and everything from like the US that you want to send over to the Philippines.
Yeah.
And like along the way, whoever I was with, I was like, oh, they like this. Oh,
nice.
they could totally use this. Oh, da-da-da-da. I'll send this to them. Da-da-da-da. So like, I just know I'm going to be pouring in a lot more energy to them.
Yeah.
Because I made such a connection with them and I'm so grateful for like the hospitality that I felt from them.
Yeah.
And it's not just because they're my family, it really is like the culture there.
Yeah, because that's who they are. That's how they were raised.
Yeah.
And I feel you 100%. And that's why I feel even worse.
Don't feel bad.
Because I don't text them, And okay, two things, right? And these are by no means excuses, right? Honduras, Spanish, right?
Yeah.
I'm fluent reading, writing, speaking, listening, of course.
Yeah.
But like, I understand Spanish perfectly there, but it's not the same as it being your native tongue, right? There are jokes that go over my head when they say them, right? I have to ask, what did you mean by that? When they explain it, even in Spanish, I understand like, oh, okay, I got you. But it's not going to be as funny,
After you've already explained it. Yeah.
After you've already explained it. And it's like, you're almost like for me, I'm almost like a robot almost in Spanish, especially with my family because they're like my Honduran family.
Yeah.
Because they're pretty quick with it and they're very witty. They're very charming.
Yeah.
And they're just like they're on it, right? They're on that level. And so it's hard to keep up sometimes.
Yeah.
Right? Like I catch almost everything that they say, but then there's some words that I hear but I don't exactly know, or they use it in a way that I haven't heard it used before.
Yes.
I used to have the problem of not knowing whether it's a word someone was saying was bad or not.
Oh.
Because like, of course I spoke it with my parents, but I do have a couple friends that speak it, but we don't speak Spanish
to each other.
You know what I mean? We speak Spanish to our parents.
Right.
And, you know, one of my friends, he speaks it on and off, like Spanglish, you know, which is dope because then I'm able to practice a little more with him.
Yeah.
But on a day-to-day basis, English.
Yeah.
All my thoughts are in English.
Yeah.
Everything I read is in English.
Exactly.
So, you know, when I want to reach out, you know, I just have to get over that mental hurdle of, hey, you're stuck here. Don't try this because you're going to get left in the dust.
Yeah.
And I just can't keep living that way. I really have to not, and I really want you guys to catch this.
Yeah.
Is do not, when you're looking at a goal, and you know, it's a weird goal to have.
Yeah.
But it is a goal. It's a family goal.
It is.
You know, and it's something of substance, right?
And if it's like a pillar that you value, then you will put the effort and the energy into it.
100%.
Yeah.
And what I'm getting at is that I can no longer say like, okay, I need to. Because when I use that language, when I use that terminology, it keeps putting it away from myself.
Yeah.
I need to own it. I need to become it.
Yes.
Like Adonis. Just speak, text, whatever comes next, you'll learn and you'll practice.
Yeah.
Like there's your practice, homie. Like
Exactly.
You're not just going to go from decision to being perfect. I'm not just going to go from like, all right, call them. Oh yeah, I get everything you're saying. Ha ha ha. You know, here's another one for you.
Right.
You know, like I have to practice. I have to get there. Like once I make the decision, the hardest part is not making the decision, but just believing that you are that decision now.
Yes.
Because once you do that, it's like you're willing to get embarrassed. You're willing to not get it. You're willing to look like, oh, you know, I don't get it, but I'm here.
Right.
Explain it to me. You know what I mean?
I love that.
Just texting, because I just feel so bad because I know that's probably how my family over there might look at me, and I can't think like that, right? But I have thought about, like, you know, they probably think I'm stuck up. He's from the U.S. He's busy with U.S. things.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like, in part, it's true in terms of like, you know, here you know you have your goals and dreams, and you're always trying to like think of different things to do, and you have problems and issues.
Yeah.
Right. But honestly, I need to make it a priority to reach out.
Yeah.
I think the thing that I'm afraid of is that I'll lose like my motivation for other things because I'm putting
so much effort into them.
This, but I can't think like that.
Yeah, you can't.
I have to think 100 in everything that I do.
Yeah.
Because I love the quote that says, how you do some things is how you do everything.
Yeah.
Like if you're going to give a little bit of energy to your family in Honduras, even if you don't see them, like I physically don't see them.
Yeah.
It shows how would I do that with my relationship to God? You know,
right.
How I would do that if I moved out and I never saw my sister, you know, like on that daily basis.
Yeah.
So I really have to be like, yo, stop thinking that way. This isn't compartmentalized.
Yes.
It's unified. You just don't see it that way. But just say to yourself, I am the person that reaches out to my family in Honduras, even though I don't see them every day.
Yeah.
Even though if they think of me one way, I'll never know. So that's okay. No, it's not okay. Reach out.
I think my biggest tip for you
Mm-hmm.
and what I learned throughout this trip, because I didn't have Wi-Fi, I didn't have data, I didn't have, like, I wasn't on Instagram every single moment that I could be on it.
Yeah.
I let my brain be brainless. I let my brain be present.
Nice.
So whenever I thought of, oh my gosh, Adonis would love this, I pulled out Rex. Rex came with me.
Yeah, nice. Yeah.
And I snapped the picture.
Yeah.
And then I sent it like later on in the day when I did get back to Wi-Fi. But I was like, okay, bet. Like, I got it.
Yeah.
And then if it was, what's it called? Oh, I was going to say something. Oh, if I knew my sister would like this shirt or something like that, or she would look good in this dress or something, I'd buy it because I was like, bet something for her.
Yeah.
Or like,
yes.
yeah. So like literally whenever, like when you are present, you're able to allow things to flow and it'll naturally come to you of like, oh, I miss her. Let me give her a text.
Yeah.
Aw, let me call her and see how she's doing.
Yeah.
This reminded me of you. Here you go.
Yeah.
Something like that. But when you're present, that's when you're able to make those connections by allowing things to come to you and flow.
So true.
That's really what life is like. Living life is all about.
Yeah. Oh, one thing though, you know, being present, of course, but like just start to think, take some time, and you only have to do this once, literally just once. And the only reason it's coming to me is because of what you said.
Yeah.
And I will start doing that, by the way. But in order to even be present and acknowledge something that they like and take a picture of it or just text them like, hey, I just saw this, thought of you.
Yeah.
Is by taking a few moments to remember them.
Yes.
To remember their likes, their dislikes.
Yes.
To remember who they are and what they might like and what they don't like and what the dreams are and all this and then the third, what they're about.
Yeah.
And so that way when you do, and you only have to do it once, because once you do it once, anytime you see an occurrence of what they might like or what they don't, you could bring it up to them like, hey, you know, I just saw this, thought of you. Yeah, I love that.
And
and that way it's not like forced, like, hey, how's it going? How's your day been?
that's literally what I was about to say.
Yeah.
If you want to get out of that hesitancy because you feel like you're forcing this conversation upon them, maybe that's not the right time to talk to them. But the natural occurrence is when you're thinking about them. Oh, they did like this. Let me like message. And 2 examples, literally while I was in the Philippines, 2 people from the US texted me while I was over there. One lives in California and she moved over there like, I think probably less than a year ago. Oh wait, it's January 24. So a little over a year ago. She moved over there over a year ago to California and I'm out in Virginia.
Yeah.
She messaged me on Instagram while I was in the Philippines and she was like, hey, let's catch up, like da-da-da-da. And I was like, girl, I'm in the Philippines. Like I'll definitely like send you a message when I get back and let's FaceTime so that we can actually talk.
Nice.
And she was like, oh, I'd love that. Okay, enjoy your time. And I was like, that's so sweet that she like thought of me and like we like each other's posts, but it's another level when you go out of your way to say like, hey, I miss you, let's catch up. Nice. And I was like, nice. And then my godmother that's here, she messaged me and she was like, hey, I'm finally starting Ted Lasso because she remembered that we watched Ted Lasso. And I was like, bet, let me know who your favorite character is when you like get a chance. And then so like we started that conversation. And it's just, those are literally the occurrences that happen when you are naturally flowing in your state. And living your life.
And expressing what you like and what you don't like. Expressing who you are. Like
letting people in.
Because that's how you let people in, is just by like saying what you're about, not being afraid of being like, oh, you like Ted Lasso? What's wrong with you? You know what I mean? You're not even into soccer. It's just saying what it is and having no need to explain yourself about it. You know, like having that courage almost. It's not even courage. It's just like relaxed state of mind. Yeah, but I love it. I love those tips. I'm definitely going to start doing that now. Like, and it's easier with them because they're so fun. They make it known what they like and what they don't like.
Yes.
Like I said, they're very, I want to say charming, but
Yeah.
like outgoing is the word.
Mm-hmm.
They're just like, hey, what's going on? What's the deal? Right? And I
Yeah.
love it. I love that type of energy.
Yes.
Because it's just like you want to be around that.
Like you're comfortable
Yeah.
with them already.
Yeah.
Yes,
So
exactly.
comfortable. And I am going to remind them, like, hey, I had a fantastic time.
Yeah.
Can't wait to be back.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah.
And like, you know how your phone sends like memories of like this picture was this year, was this time 5 years ago or something like that.
Yeah.
Just send it to them.
Exactly.
Like they'll love it.
I love it.
And they'll know that like just the thought of being thought of is, I genuinely appreciate it.
That's true.
Like, so sometimes you have to be the one to really start it. But again, if it feels forced, you don't have to. At least you thought of it and you know that you thought of them.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
It's the baby steps. And one thing at our family reunion, sorry, I'm talking a lot.
No, you're good. Keep going.
At our family reunion, they gave us homework. And this is the funny part. It's like the family of like 10 siblings.
Yeah.
And they all had kids. And those kids are the generation of like my dad and his cousins.
Mm.
And then obviously they had kids, which is me and my cousins.
Yeah.
And there were 4 siblings from the like top family. And most of their kids came and their grandkids. But none of us knew each other. And I was over here thinking like, okay, like I'm the oddball because we're from the US. Everybody else knows each other. But there was no like interaction between the other cousins, because the last time that my dad went 4 years ago, they had a family reunion of all the siblings, kids and everything like that.
Yeah.
With like 150 people or something. Nuts.
150 people.
Yes.
Family. Good grief.
And they all stayed at their own tables. So there was no like mingling or anything.
Yeah.
So their homework was the cousin that meets the most other cousins
Yeah.
and knows who their parents are, knows their age, knows what they're doing, what college they're going to, like more information,
Yeah.
they're going to win money. I was like, well, I'm not trying to get no money, but I would like to know more people.
Right.
And we're there from 8 a.m. all the way up until 5 p.m. It rolls around to like 3 p.m. We're like all playing games and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And no one's like made that move yet. And here is my cousin that stayed with me this whole time. And she was like, okay, Ianna, come on, let's go. We got to introduce ourselves.
Nice.
And I was like, bet. Okay. She starts the conversation, but I don't know how I did it. And I feel so bad, but I also like don't. I took over the conversation and I was like, okay, like, what's your name? What grade are you in? Da, 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 da. And like, she started it. So like we were all like talking, and then I was like, okay, do you know any of them over there? And then they were like, no, we don't know them. I was like, okay, let's all go and introduce ourselves. So then they came with me and she like slowly backed away.
Yeah.
And so like I started introducing all the other cousins to each other. And I was like, okay, bet, like, what's your Instagram? Like, da 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 da. Who is your parent? Like, blah, blah, blah. And we just like kept talking like throughout the rest of the time. And I was like, yes. And then the nice part was after like 5 o'clock when we had to close the event space, we went back to one of the cousins' houses. And when we got there, they were like, Ate Ianna, come here. Like included me.
Yeah.
And these kids are young. They're like late teens, early 20s. And I'm over here. You already know I'm about to be 29 or about to be 30. And they were like, Ate Ianna, like, come here. Like, let's walk around the neighborhood. Let's go see the other cousins. Da, da, da. And I was like, okay, sure. And like, it was so nice seeing like, cause every family had their own colors, but it was nice to see all of us with all the different colors.
Nice.
And I was like, bet. Okay.
Dope.
Like I feel accomplished right now.
Yeah, because you made it happen.
Yeah.
Let's go.
But I also like, I'm so grateful for that cousin that helped give me the courage to
Push yourself.
push me out of my
Yeah.
comfort zone and then just like keep the ball rolling. And I'm pretty sure some of them were able to like exchange social media too. So now I'm
Nice.
like, okay, bet. And like whenever I saw them later on
Yeah.
throughout the trip, my dad was like, they're the next generation. Like you guys are going to be doing this family reunion. So like, I'm glad you're already connected. And I was like, oh, you're right.
Yeah, that's so true.
Yeah.
Wow, I didn't even think about it like that.
Yeah.
We are the next generation to
Keep it going.
Because if not us, then who?
Yeah, exactly.
It's not going to happen.
Yeah. But yeah.
Those ties are going to be severed, and who's going to mend them?
And who's going to know, like, oh, how are we related? I don't know. You're just a cousin. Are you sure we're really related?
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. That's literally my cousin, my immediate cousin.
You know how sad it would be if we had children and they had to find out that they have family in Honduras and the Philippines.
Yeah.
That'd be crazy.
Yeah.
Like, wow, why didn't my mom or dad tell me that? You know, we had family over there.
Right.
Then it's this awkward mess of like, oh, well.
We didn't keep that responsibility or
Yeah.
whatever. We'd have to explain ourselves. Oh, life got in the way. Da, 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 da.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, and you just
That
make
is not it.
Yeah, and then you just make it awkward for them. And
Yeah. And for yourself.
Exactly.
So put this in your mind now.
Yeah.
That heritage, and learn about your heritage, your culture, visit your motherland,
Yes.
bring your significant other to the motherland, and just better understand your own roots, because the level of like, I literally have more clarity of all the pieces that I originally came from.
Yeah.
Like, I actually have the full story of how my parents got together and who was related to who and who did my mom stay with and all these things.
Yeah.
Because of this trip. And now moving forward, if something does arise in me or I'm triggered or something like that, oh, my grandma was the same way.
Yeah.
Like, I have answers now.
Yeah, exactly. Just because they live in a different part of the world doesn't mean we don't have all the same problems and issues.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So really if you really want to truly understand who you are, go back, look further, deeper into it.
100%.
And that doesn't mean that if you came from a bad family or anything like that, you have to stay that way. No, our future is literally all the decisions that we've made. But to understand who you are presently, look back.
Exactly. Wow. Beautiful. Man, I'm so glad we had this podcast because I'm definitely going to hit my relatives. Not all at once. But
Tell them tune in.
because they have a lot. You know, we have a
Yeah.
lot. You
Yeah.
know, you mentioned it. They, you know, they had 9 siblings. So over there, you know, I have like aunts and uncles, and I got a lot of people to start reconnecting with and rekindling that that love for, you know.
Yeah.
But nah, thank you so much for like parting that experience and like that wisdom of how to connect. That it doesn't have to be forced. That it could be something spectacular, and not just for us, but for the generations to come. Like, mend that relationship. You know, like not just mend it, but like make it grow, sustain it. So that way your kids and your kids' kids will know where they came from, will know where your family's at.
And let them understand like who, like the easiest way to make those connections and reach back out is literally starting with the people that you are closest to. And then asking them like, hey, how's so-and-so?
Exactly.
And then
So
they can
true.
even drop that seed of like, oh, he reached out and he asked about you. I told him he's good. You should reach out too.
Yeah.
And then the whole circle just starts. But like someone has to put in the effort to start the conversation.
To start it. Yeah. And once you start it, it'll
Naturally.
Yeah, naturally. It's like lighting a fire. The moment you strike the match and you lay it down, it'll start to grow.
Yeah.
It's not like you need to be on it constantly and you're the only one that's going to be putting in the effort.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, it's not going to be, an effort.
Yeah.
You just show up.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. And the one other point that I wanted to say is like, if you are mending relationships with family members, at least, firsthand experience like that I can fully say is know that your love for them will always exceed whatever hurt that you have felt or have caused. And they may take time to forgive, or you may take time to forgive, but eventually the love will pour into that forgiveness. But continue to stay in character of how you were raised and know that you're doing things out of love, even if you're hurt. So that means that's literally like staying in character of like, I'm not acting out of character if you hurt me and I'm going to hurt you back. No, that's me acting out of character.
Yeah.
I need to still love you because you're my family.
Exactly. And I don't know, it just came to me, but don't buy their love, or don't try to. Yes. Like, even one or two things is going to happen. They're either going to be like, what are you doing? You know, like trying to give me money for what you did, or trying to give me money like because you haven't talked to me in a while. Yeah. Please. They could either get mad, or maybe even worse is like they'll just take you for that relative. Yeah, they just give me money because they felt bad. Good. I want the money. You know, keep saying that. Like, yo, take the time. It's harder. It takes more effort. It takes more time. It takes more patience for sure to just start talking, to make that intention, you know, and don't expect it. But like, be grateful for whatever little you do get back. Yes. People see when you are grateful, appreciative, and excited, even if it's just a tiny bit, and they're like, oh, okay, you know, I'm able to give that to him. Right. Okay. You know, like, even though it might be tiny, that instance, but it grows and it grows, and it's a seed that you've implanted that now is just watering every single time you reach out. Yes. And one more thing, sorry. No, keep going. This part is like a little bit like difficult, only because gratitude goes a long way. Yeah. Like, regardless of like, well, the first part is giving. When you give, learn to give without expectations of receiving or returning. Yes, there's things called like reciprocity and all these things. Yeah. Learn how to give without the expectation of getting, and especially if it's from your family. But like, if you are being given something, learn to be grateful by, even if you can't return it, appreciation goes a long way. And the fact that you're saying thank you, that goes a long way too. Yeah. Because when you are given something and you show no gratitude, no appreciation, I'm not saying you have to be like a kiss ass or anything, but like kiss butt. Yes, a kiss butt. But at the same time, like, put in the effort. Like, the least you can do is be kind. Oh, yeah. That is the least you can do. So like, there's so many, like, yeah, it's hard in America. It's harder in other places, but we're all dealing with like our own issues and stuff like that. So the least anyone can do is be grateful and be kind. Yeah. And honestly, that's the most. Yeah. That's what we all want, you know? But yeah, thank you guys so much for listening. You can find us on our Instagram pages at Adonis Barrera and Ianna.Giselle. Yeah. And under my name, Adonis Barrera, you can find the YouTube channel. We have a playlist for the 2D podcast. You could find us on our Instagram collective podcast page under the 2D pod. That's TOODEEP and our Facebook, which there's nothing on there yet, but you know, we're getting there. Is 2D podcast. That's TOODEEPPODCAST. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really hope that this has enlightened you as it has enlightened us. And yeah, thank you guys so much for tuning in, and we'll see you in 2 weeks.
Stay safe, everybody.
Bye.